It is 0 hour 30, Universal Time. I'm Jim Tedder in Washington. A report says Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has called on Iran to stop interfering in Iraqi affairs. Mr. al-Maliki reportedly said the interference is having a bad effect on Iraq. A spokesman reported Mr. al-Maliki's statements to the Associated Press. He said Iraq wants to ban the financial support of certain groups. The statements came at the end of the Iraqi leader's visit to Iran. Also Wednesday, 2 bomb attacks in Baghdad killed at least 22 Iraqis. About 80 others were wounded. And Iraqi officials said the bodies of 60 men were found in Baghdad. The official said the men appeared to have been tortured and shot to death. The United States has urged the United Nations Security Council to punish Iran because of its nuclear activities. American diplomat Gregory Schulte spoke at a meeting of the International Atomic Energy Agency in Austria. He said that now is the time to support diplomatic efforts with actions to punish Iran. 3 other nations, Britain, France, and Germany, urged Iran to suspend its uranium enrichment program to avoid punishment. Iran failed to act on a Security Council demand to stop working with uranium by August 31st. The element can be used to make nuclear weapons. The leader of Hezbollah says the group is still in southern Lebanon. Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah spoke on the Arabic television station Al Jazeera. He said Hezbollah fighters are at the Israeli border. And he said no one can prevent Hezbollah from defending what he called land belonging to the militant group. In Washington, a top American official told lawmakers that disarming Hezbollah is necessary for Lebanon to fully govern itself. Sudan says African Union peacekeepers must leave Darfur by September 30th if they continue to support a UN takeover of the force. A Sudanese foreign affairs official spoke after meeting with AU officials in Ethiopia. The African Union says it is ready for the UN to take command of the AU peacekeepers in Darfur. But the Sudanese government says it will fight any UN troops who enter the area. The UN Security Council has approved plans to take over the AU force and expand it to 20,000 troops. 7,000 AU troops have failed to stop the war in Darfur. More than 3 years of fighting has killed about 200,000 people. Singapore has banned 28 foreign activists from entering the country. The activists were invited to a meeting of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund to be held next week. World Bank President Paul Wolfowitz and the European Union have protested the ban. Singapore police have restricted the activities of delegates. Police have also set tough restrictions on demonstrations. The Singapore government says its policies are to prevent violent protests, such as those at past World Bank and IMF meetings. The United States has asked the United Nations Security Council to take action on Burma. A top American official for international issues, Kristen Silverberg, says Burma has had human rights problems for a long time. She says these problems affect nearby countries. Ms. Silverberg says a recent report shows that the flow of refugees from Burma causes unrest, illegal activities, and the spread of diseases. The report was written by former Czech President Václav Havel and Nobel Peace Prize winner Desmond Tutu of South Africa. Palestinian ministers from the ruling group Hamas have resigned. The move is described as a step toward forming a unity government with the Fatah party. A Palestinian government spokesman says Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh of Hamas is also expected to present his resignation to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas of Fatah. Mr. Abbas says Mr. Haniyeh will keep his position in the unity government once it is formed. Hamas and Fatah agreed to form a unity government in an effort to urge Western nations to end economic restrictions. The restrictions were placed on the Palestinians when Hamas came to power earlier this year. The President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Joseph Kabila, has met with his election opponent, Vice President Jean-Pierre Bemba. The meeting was the first between the two since deadly fighting between their supporters took place last month. Also Wednesday, the Congolese Supreme Court ruled that a second presidential election could not be held on October 29th as planned. The court said the Constitution calls for a second vote within 15 days of the court's confirmation of results of the first election. Reuters news agency reports that the Supreme Court has not yet confirmed the results of the vote held in July. Last month, Congolese election officials announced that no candidate won a majority of votes. Officials then planned a second election between President Kabila and Mr. Bemba. Officials in Canada say a gunman has killed one person and wounded at least 20 others. Reports say 6 of them are severely injured. The attack was at Dawson College in Montreal. Police shot the gunman dead. Students say the gunman fired shots outside the college and inside a college building. Police believe he acted alone, but the reason for his attack is not known. And now, briefly, here again is the major news of the hour. A report says Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has called on Iran to stop interfering in Iraqi affairs. The United States has urged the United Nations Security Council to punish Iran because of its nuclear activities. And the leader of Hezbollah says the group is still in southern Lebanon. And that's the news in VOA Special English. From Washington, this is Jim Tedder reporting.